Shalom, shalom. Always got it clear. So you sound clearly. But shalom, shalom, brother Malak. Back with another lesson, break down something quick in the spirit. It's always good to be occupied in the spirit, occupied in prophecy, occupied in spiritual things, because all of your work is being recorded, literally. The angels, Yahweh Shai, always say, man, in these breakdowns and these lessons, nobody, no soul on this earth, no souls of you heathens, you Gentiles, no souls of you Israelites. Nobody, no soul gets away scot-free. Nobody gets away scot-free from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. As the scripture says, man, when you die, Yahweh Shai Mashiach is the judge. For everyone goes to the judgment seat. You Israelites and you Gentiles. You know what? I'm gonna go into that too in another lesson, because I would like to know well, I would like to know the Gentiles per se, when they go up there and go before Yahweh Shai, what are they getting judged upon or judged for? I mean, I would think they're getting judged just like the Israelites that go up there before the throne. But I'm saying that because the covenant, they're not part of the covenant. And technically they can't really sin. And what would they be getting judged for or accounted for? I think that's a good lesson to go in. That's a good lesson to go in, to figure out, to dig. When they go up there, what are they interesting. The Spirit put that on me to do that, to go into that. That's interesting. Because if they're not under the covenant, if the ethnic bloodline heathens, the Gentiles, the other nations, according to Psalms 83, 1-6, if they technically can't even sin, because sin is those that's under the covenant, that's what sin is, breaking the covenant. The nations are not given a covenant, so really they can't sin. So when they go before the throne, in the heavenly throne, what exactly are they being graded upon? What exactly are they being judged? You see, you hear, like what are they being accounted for? Well, that's a lesson, and that's some studying and digging for me to find the secrets, if you will, just as I have discovered and uncovered. Not just taking people's word. Some of you people are in this thing, you just listen to what people say, being, whoever you listen to, and just take it in as that being face value, instead of doing your own research and your own digging, studying to show thyself approved. Before I confirmed what Elder Gabar, Elder Tahar, Elder Ramla, Elder Rakar, and all of the elders within GMS, and even to other elders and pioneers and whatnot, apostles in other camps, before I took what they said face value, I studied to show myself approved, rightfully dividing the word of truth, matching up the secular history, going into it, reading, digging, doing my just due. But I digress. I'm digressing. But the Spirit has just revealed that into me. What exactly are these Gentiles getting, judged for? Or, what would they be accounted for when they, Because the scripture says when we all die, we go before Yahweh Shai Mashiach. He's the judge. I would definitely like to know, what are they being judged upon? What measures? Because clearly we're getting judged on if we woke up, kept the, the elect. That's what I'm about to go into with this lesson. But clearly the Israelites are going to get judged upon if they follow the covenant to the best of their ability. I would assume, right? But I digress. I'm kind of murmuring rather. But I digress. But it's interesting that the Spirit brought that out. I gotta dig. But moving along, this lesson is about the elect, man. Because that's who really understands what's going on. That's who really understands what's happening right now. And that's who really gets it. And these souls, men and women, women and men, and even children, they were predestinated. And I'm chiefly going with the men. It's always going to be with the men, because that's just that's just the way our nation goes, man. Patriarch. There's order in the horizon. Order. So the elect men, the 12,000 men, I'm gonna get into that as well. These are the elect. Ephesians 1 and 4. So when you go out here and try to tell these people, convince these people, persuade these people, don't get mad when 90% of the time it don't happen. Because this is what makes this truth so special. This is why this truth is so special. This is why they will receive the glory and the things that they're going to receive, even though they were predestinated. Even though they were predestinated. But this is why we're going to receive the glory that we're going to receive, because it's a special thing, man. Something that everybody can have is not really valuable. Something that's rare and that everyone can't have is valuable. That's why we tell you women, stop being whores. Because a virgin is valuable. A woman with less bodies is valuable. I just used the woman analogy because it just fits perfect. But this is why virgin women were sought upon in the ancient days. Valuable. Not everyone had that particular woman and whatnot. Well, no one had her. She was a virgin. Or women with less body counts would be valued more than women with a bunch of body counts. So the elect, man, something that's valuable, only a few have it, or is only made in such a few. It's not a lot of it. We'll go with that. It's not a lot of it. That's what makes it valuable. And the elect, they're valuable because out of the whole nation of Israel, there's only a few, the elect, that understands these prophecies and understand what's going on. And ultimately, they were predestinated. Predestinated. What is that? Ephesians. Let's grab Ephesians. Ephesians, 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 Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4. It says, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world. Ephesians 1:4 says, according as he, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. The phone kind of felt a lot. It says, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Hamashiach, Yahushai, Hamashiach, to himself according to the good pleasure of his will. Jumping down to verse 11. It says, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated. So that word predestinated is used again. When you go into the word predestined, it means basically a pre-selected lot. When you go into the word predestinated, it means you're a pre-selected lot. Like you were, already picked. It was already picked, pre-selected. It says, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, who works all things after his own counsel of his will. So when people can't understand that, they're Israelites, they can't understand certain prophecies, they can't understand the Bible, which is the prophecies. They don't understand the deep things. They can't understand the meat. They can't understand the meat of the scriptures. It's because it's not for them. And they wouldn't predestine. And they're not of the elect. This thing is about the election. The Bible is about the elect. It's about the election. The Bible goes into the elect. Romans chapter 3 on down, it says, for what if some did not believe? Yeah, you non-elect. For what if some did not believe? And it's not even some, it's a lot. What if a lot did not believe? Because out of the whole nation of the house of Judah and the house of Israel, only 1/3 is going to make it. So for what if some did not believe, really should be for what if a lot did not believe. It says, for what if some did not believe, shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? So just because you don't want to believe that the so-called Hispanic man, Native Indian man, black man are the Israelites, including our women counterparts, black man, black woman, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, Native Indian man, Native Indian woman. Just because you don't want to believe that we're not the Israelites don't mean that we're not the Israelites. Just because you don't want to believe that we're living in biblical end times don't mean that we're not living in biblical end times. Just because you don't want to believe that Esau is the so-called Caucasian man, woman, and child doesn't mean that Esau ain't the so-called Caucasian woman and child. Just because you don't believe that Deuteronomy 28, 1-68 don't fit the Hispanics, Native Indians, blacks, Negroes, don't mean that the prophecy is not true to those people. Just because you don't believe that the mark of the beast system is not going to happen doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Romans 3:3 says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Yahweh forbids. Yeah, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar. So that's what you are. You're liars, essentially. And we not tripping, man. We don't trip no more. I used to trip. See, it's so many phases and growth. And you look at life itself, there's phases and growth. You go from an age from, infant to 7 7 to 16, 16 to 25, 25 to 45, 45 to 80, different phases in life. And when you first come into this walk, this ministry, you'll be, when you had, when you understood everything, you wanted to tell your friends and family and enlighten them. But the downside to that is most of them don't believe it anyway. And most of them will try to fight you over it, over what they believe, over these ideologies and philosophies of the world. This is why Hamashiach said that a prophet is not roughly paraphrased, a prophet is not appreciated in his own town, city, home, and whatnot among his relatives. Roughly paraphrased. But it all goes into the elect and those, others not being the elect. 2nd Esdras 9, it says, and I saw and spared it greatly and have kept, 2nd Esdras 9:21, going into the elect. It says, and I saw and spared it greatly and kept me a grape of the cluster. And that grape cluster, or that cluster of grapes, are the elect. It says, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish. Let the multitude perish. That's the non-elect. Those that still want to be Christians and all the other branches that's up under Christianity. Those that want to be Muslim. Those that want to be atheists, science. Those that want to reform to Scientology. Those that want to dabble in witchcraft and crystal balls and astrology, all the garbage, all the philosophies of the world. It says, let the multitude perish, and then which was born in vain. Man, do you hear that? You got people here, man. You got a lot of people here that's born in vain. When you watch a movie, you got the main characters, then you just got those side characters, extras. You got a lot of extras in this movie. They were born in vain. This is what the angel has told Prophet Ezra, the Levite. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. You have people here walking the earth that's born in vain. They would never, ever, 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 never, ever get the truth. That wasn't their lot. So you definitely got to count yourself worthy if you understand this truth, these prophecies. You understand and see what's going on. You're able to preach and dissect this word, understand it in totality. They understand the Hebraic way, because you could possibly be part of that grape cluster, cluster of grapes, as is mentioned here in 2nd Esdras 9. The Apocrypha. You got some people that don't even believe in the Apocrypha. They say the Apocrypha is not canon. It was never part of the Bible. That's that multitude that's going to perish. You got some people that don't believe that Yahweh kills, wounds, heals. Well, they know he heals. They know he make alive. They don't know about the other side. They don't want to believe the other side, as if they're always one-sided. Here you have it, you imperfect human. You have multiple sides, two sides. You got a side where you're angry, disappointed, and so on and so forth. But here, the creator of all things, it's hard for you to believe that he has a side where he brings forth judgment, vengeance, and so on and so forth. Second Esdras 9:22, let the multitude perish, man, then which were born in vain. You have a lot of people that were born in vain. And no, these devils, man, they kind of allude to that. Now that I think about it, they allude to that in a way because they call them, the devils of these worlds, of this world or worlds. I guess you could say worlds, the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Even though everything is controlled, both rams are controlled by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Anyway, so, but I digress. You have these devils, man, these Edomites and these nations, these other heathens that's in Khalid, that's not Khalid, but that's in league, or to have an alliance, if you will, with them. They got a saying called useless eaters. That's their saying. Like they want to depopulate the world because the world is filled with useless eaters. And to that, they're actually they actually right. Because Yahweh himself just called people useless eaters. Second Esdras 9:22, let the multitude perish then which was born in vain. If you're born in vain, then I would basically say you're a useless eater. You're taking up space on the earth. The Bible says that. So I guess, they stand corrected when they say that. We gotta, I'm not saying they're right with the depopulation. However they go about it. All the madness that they do to the earth, chemtrails, fluorides, GMOs, pesticides, chemicals everywhere, constructed diseases. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying is for them to come up with a conclusion that there's people on the earth that's just useless eaters. I'm agreeing with that because I agree with anything that the Bible supports or backs up because the Bible supports that. You got people born in vain. They would be useless eaters. Useless eaters would be people born in vain. Second Esdras 9:22 again, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. It says, and let my grape be kept, that is the elect, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. And that's the elect. That's the prophets, scholars and apostles of the house of Judah and the house of Israel. And all through the Apocrypha, specifically Second Esdras, it tells you that this world was made for many, but the world to come was made for few. Multiple scriptures. So yeah. So just to bring it all the way back home, we don't care if you don't get it. Well, yeah, we really don't. When you first come in, you care. You got that Michael Jackson, We Are the World spirit. You got the Michael Jackson, We Are the World spirit, and you want to help whomever you can help everyone really. But then you come to find out, like, man, it's not even about. That's not what this thing is about. This thing is about the election, the elect. Romans 11, verse 7 through 8, it says, what then? Israel. Notice it doesn't say any other nation. It doesn't say any other nation that's mentioned in Psalms 83. And if you're in this Bible, if you're in these scrolls, you should know what Psalms 83 states. Talks about all of the heathen nations that have conspired against the house of Israel. But notice it doesn't say that. It says, what then, Israel? Doesn't say no other nations. It says, what then, Israel have not obtained that which he seeks for? And what do you Israelites seek? What do you Israelites seek, man? You came over here on slave ships. The southern kingdom, we came over on slave ships. The northern kingdom came over on ships too, but they were already here. And then these devils on the ships came over here and took the land. Christopher Columbus and whatnot. Mass incarceration, police brutality, gentrification, whitewashing, lies, uh, slavery and all of the ill wills that took its course during these time periods. And you sit and ask yourself, as a so-called Hispanic, Native Indian, Negro, black, man, woman, and child, teenager, what is it? What is this? Why are you so envied by these other nations? Why are you so hated by these other nations? Specifically one nation that seems to have a deep hatred, just as the scripture says they would have. I mean, you gotta hate a people if you did all the things you did to them. All the things that you did to them, you gotta have a deep hatred. To steal their heritage, to whitewash their heritage. Police brutality, mass incarceration, gentrification, slavery, and all the ill wills that happen in slavery. To whitewash, to lie, to set up laws, and to set up bills and pass bills to keep a certain people at bay, to keep a certain people in poverty, impoverished. You gotta have a hell of a hatred. Let's just call a spade a spade. So you Israelites, you will ask yourself that. Why is this? What is it? Romans 11:7, it says, what then Israel have not obtained which he seeks for? But the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. And when you awaken out of the matrix, you'll learn that you are a Israelite. And these nations have conspired against you and your power. That's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. And not only that, Yahweh has used these nations to do so. See, that's another thing that the elect would know. Not only did these nations do this, but they were made in that hour to do it. Deuteronomy 28, 1-68. This is biblical prophecy. Yahweh will send you over in ships to a people of a different tongue that would not have no regards for the old, the young, etc., 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 etc. This is what, as a person, or as an Israelite, really, you will want to understand this. And I love this scripture right here, because it's powerful. Romans 11:7, it says, what then Israel have not obtained that which he seeks for, you sons and daughters of Jacob? It says, what then Israel have not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election. And that's what the Bible is ultimately about. It's about the elect and Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. It says, but the elect have obtained it. Yeah, we were, and ultimately we were predestinated anyway to obtain it. When you really understand this whole thing. Ephesians 1:4-5, Ephesians 1:11. 2nd Esdras 9:22. It says, but the election have obtained it, and the rest, the 2/3, were blinded. It says, according as it is written, Yahweh. It didn't say Satan. It didn't say the demons. So many accounts in this Bible, man, that talks about bad things happening. And it never says Satan. I mean, you got things where it says Satan did this, I believe, in a couple accounts. But ultimately, in most of the accounts, it's Yahweh that does it. I mean, wouldn't you think that Satan and the demons should blind you? Why would it say God blinded them? Romans 11:8, it says, according as it is written, God has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, ears that they should not hear unto this day. How about that? See, but this is the secrets and the cheat codes that the elect would know and understand and comprehend. And like I said before in lessons and breakdowns past, and the demons and Hasatan, they're nothing but the sons of Yahweh, just like we're the sons of Yahweh. And everybody carries out their orders that he ordains. He is all sovereignty. Yahweh is all sovereignty. He controls. It tells you this in Second Esdras 8:21, man. It's and Second Esdras 8:21. It says the angels fear with trembling of Yahweh, and it says in James 2:19 that the demons fear with trembling before Yahweh. So Yahweh controls everything. He's all sovereign, man. He's all powerful. He's the creator. So this is why, these people can't get it. He didn't want them to get it. They're not part of the cluster grape. They're not that grape cluster. They're not the grape cluster. They're not that cluster grape. Keep telling you, man, this thing is big, man. To understand these prophecies, to understand this Bible, to break down these prophecies, to break down this Bible, to match it up with current history, to match it up with future endeavors, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, to line everything up, to know these nations according to Psalms 83, to identify these things, to see what's happening. This is a very big thing, man. This is a very big thing. This is very serious business. Some of us have to be some of those prophets and apostles coming back in our past lots, our past lives. And this is the last shebang. You remember the Moabite? I don't know if he was an Ammonite or a Moabite, but shebang. Back in American Idol. And even that was, this place is so damn demonic and backwards. The show is called American Idol. You're not supposed to have any idols. Revelations 14:4, it says, these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. And I explained to you what these virgins are. You will have some of the elect that's going to be natural virgins, actual virgins. But this is going into that strange woman, the doctrines, the philosophies, ideologies of the world, Scientology, atheism, Christianity, and all of the branches under that, Muslim, and all of that. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goes. These are the elect. These were redeemed. This is who Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is coming back to redeem when he comes for that second coming. It says these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb, Yahweh Shai. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without before the throne of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh willing, we be some of those men. Yahweh willing, we be those men. I mean, we're doing the work. We understand the prophecies. We got the faith. We got the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Somebody got to be one of those men. Somebody got to be the elect. And that's just the thing. Somebody got to be the elect, and somebody got to be the non-elect. That's just what it is. So you don't get mad, man, when people don't get this, don't get it. Don't be upset. Don't get mad. Don't trip. It's not for everybody to get. It's not for everybody to know. Everybody can't be Neo, man. Everybody can't be Superman. Everybody can't be Batman. Everybody can't be whoever else you like. This is why I told you that at the beginning of the lesson. This is why things are value. This is why things hold value. This is why things are valuable. Because it's rarity. Not everyone has it. Not everyone has it. Revelation 7:4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, And there were sealed 144,000 of all the actual tribes. And actual is not in there, but I just said that. It says of all the tribes, but it's from the actual tribes of the children of Israel. 12K out of Judah. I'm roughly paraphrasing. 12K out of Judah, 12K out of Reuben, 12K out of Naphtali, 12K out of Asher, 12K out of Benjamin, 12K out of Levi, 12K out of Gad, 12K out of Issachar, 12K out of Simeon. Actual tribes, man. The actual Israelites, the bloodline Israelites. So that's something quick, something lit, something legit, something that I fixed in the spirit. Stop tripping over these 2/3. Yahweh don't want them. Stop trying to wake up your family members if they don't get it the first 3 times. Stop trying to wake up your friends if they don't get it the first 3 times. Stop trying to wake up anybody if they don't get it. It's not for everybody to get. But it is meant for this gospel to be heard. As it says, Matthew 24:14, this gospel shall go throughout the 4 corners of the earth, and then shall the end come. So this is why the unicorn, as the elders call it, this is why the internet was created. This is why the books were open. Remember, it says Daniel will be back on the lot. Seal the books to the end. Daniel will be back on the lot. Malachi will be back in the lot. And I believe John, I got to go into the one where it talks about John. I think John the Revelator would be back on the lot as well. I could be wrong about John, but I think John was supposed to regenerate. Daniel was supposed to regenerate. That's Daniel 12:13. Malachi was supposed to regenerate. Elijah was supposed to regenerate. That's in Malachi 4:5. And I believe John the Revelator was supposed to regenerate. So regeneration. Everybody coming back to the lot. But I digress. People can't get it, man. Just carry on. It's not for everybody to get. As long as you got it, know it, understand it. Keep your fear of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Follow the laws to the best of your ability. Treat your people the way they're supposed to be treated, and ultimately treat everybody the way they're supposed to be treated. Because ultimately, in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to teach all these nations. We're going to teach all of these heathens the right way. That's why it says in Isaiah chapter 2 that these heathens, these Gentiles, are going to grab the skirt of a Jew and say, we will follow you and your God and learn his ways. Because ultimately the kingdom of heaven, after the 1,000 years, is set and done. And that's going to be a long, long, long 1,000 years. But after the 1,000 years is set and done, all of the nations are going to eventually know the truth. And we're going to teach that truth throughout the kingdom of heaven. We're going to be great in the kingdom of heaven. And like it says in Isaiah 2, Micah 4, Zephaniah 13:14, the restoration of the house of Judah, the restoration of the house of Israel. The knowledge of Yahweh is going to be everywhere. So that's a good thing to look forward to, man. It's a bright future, man. It's a beautiful future, bright future for the elect, but ultimately the Israelites, and ultimately everybody. Eventually everybody. Like it says, they're gonna hold the skirt of a Jew and say, we're gonna follow you. Peace, prosperity, the ultimate golden age is yet before us. The ultimate golden age is yet before us. And Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, and the elect are going to lead the charge in that. So don't trip about these people that can't get it, man. Don't trip about the non-elect. They're disposable. Remember what the prophecy said in 2nd Esdras 9:22. It says there be people that are born in vain, man. They're born in vain. They're extras, extra, extra, extra. They're extras in this movie. They have no real. They have a significance, but it's not the significance that's equivalent to yours. It's not the significance that's equivalent to yours. The election have obtained it. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the actual tribes, of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And we're still here on the earth. You Hispanics, Native Indians, blacks, Negroes, Africans, the Israelites scattered through the four corners of the earth, and the Israelites that look like the heathens. We were scattered amongst the heathens in all of the regions. So, Jacob is going to knock down those women. That's one thing Jacob does best. He loves to repopulate. So when, being in the midst of all of these heathens in different regions, we procreated with the women because that's what Jacob is about. Living, procreating, being that lion of Judah, roaring, setting his royal loins, sowing the royal oats. So you have Gentiles that look like Israelites. You have Israelites that look like Gentiles. And then, you do got Gentiles that look like Israelites too. Now that's another time, another topic that goes into the tares and all of that. But the elect, man, the election, this is what this thing is about, the elect. Time is short. You see what's happening. You see every day something new is happening. Polycrisis after polycrisis. Plot twist, polycrisis. Plot twist, polycrisis. And some of these could be engineered by the actual men, these demonic men, wicked men. But then again, you got to understand who controls these demonic men, who controls these wicked men, who controls the righteous men, who control the glorious men. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, he's all sovereign. It's all in his hands. It's all in his hands. So you have prophecy playing out, man. It's prophetic. All of this is prophetic. The fact that the books are open, the Israelites are awoken, and those beforehand have been chosen. It's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. Prophetic times. Prophetic times, prophetic times. And the thing is, you want to be on the right side of prophecy. You want to be on the right side of prophecy. You want to be on the right side of prophecy. Do I want to bring out another prophecy, another scroll? I want to bring out another scroll, I really don't. Yeah, Revelations 1:7. It's always good to end it on Hamashiach Yahweh Shai all the time. Revelations 1:7. It says, behold, he comes with clouds, with these devils called UFOs. It says, and every eye shall see him. So everybody going to see him. Every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him. Remember who pierced him? You 2/3. You pierced him spiritually, giving them up to who was that? Was that I forget the damn Edomite name. Forget his name. Y'all gave him up to, was that Pontius Pilate, whatever his name is. So y'all pierced him that way, you 2/3, and then the actual heathens, they pierced him, scourging him, and then when they pierced him with the on his side in the water, and what's the name came out of his side. So they pierced him. So everybody's going to see him. It says, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. It says, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending. And we're at the end. We're in the end. This is the ending of Esau's kingdom of Babylon, the king of Babylon. This is the end. This is the ending. You see all of the tokens, all of the prophecies playing out. You see the mark of the beast is on the horizon. You see World War III is on the horizon. You see everything playing out in the Bible. You see the Bible playing out. It says, I am Alpha and Omega, Revelations 1:8. And the beginning and the ending, say Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. So with that, I'm going to say, Ka Halam La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakat Kadash. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. If we're not the elect, then who is?